So typically when I upload YouTube videos, I like to leave it possible for people to make comments if they want to, because I typically prefer discussion and to properly engage in with people intellectually rather than to just, make statements at them and hope that they'll take it. And I don't like doing that. But and what I found was I was surprised at how well I was taking the comments that were being made, because some of them were very hurtful, and normally in the past words like that used to really, really cut deep on me. And so I actually felt very happy that I had made the kind of progress where people could say things like that to me and it wouldn't get to me as much. Like, obviously, it's not like, woo, this is fun, but it's not getting to me as much, especially since I've learned enough to know that what the things people say, the mean things people say, it's usually it's not just that it's a statement about themselves. Usually when people say mean things, it's actually because they're not happy on the inside. And you know, I think that the people who are making those unkind comments don't feel very good about themselves. And I think that part of the reason um my video might have stepped on as many toes as it did is perhaps because uh I was, I mean, I think it is I'm trying to think of how I can say it without being too insulting, because I don't want to just insult people, but it's like if somebody says something that's a little bit too close to the truth, sometimes it makes you uncomfortable. And I find I do this too, where sometimes people will say things that I find embarrassing, and so I'll get very upset with them, and not really know why I'm so upset, but I'll just know that I'm embarrassed. And I think that's the same sort of thing that was happening with these guys. And, you know, so when I went on to make a secondary video where I did try to sort of be more democratic in my approach, it also started to get dislikes and negative comments. And, they weren't very carefully. The comment I received wasn't a very carefully considered one either. It was just an insult, and it wasn't even a true insult. Like, there are comments I'm getting to the effect of, "Oh, you're ugly, you're a liar, you're this, you're that." It doesn't bother me because I know that's not who I really am. Like, these people don't know who I really am, so they don't. You know what I mean? They can say a lot of things, and it's not going to be true. They don't know who I really am, so their insults don't really land. I know that I'm not just a liar, and I know that I'm not actually ugly. In fact, I've been told by a lot of people that I'm actually nice to look at, and particularly considering my age. And when I say this, I don't mean it with, sinful pride. I mean it in the knowledge that God has, entrusted me with some good things. I think God gives everybody some good things in their life, and I think one of my giftings is that I'm quite adequate to look at. And you know for me it's a considerable admission, because I spent a lot of my childhood feeling very ugly. So when people would call me ugly, or make negative comments about my looks, it used to really cut deep. It used to really cut me up. But it doesn't anymore. And it's not just the knowledge that I'm not that bad to look at, it's also the knowledge that that looks really shouldn't be that important. Even if they are important to some people, they really shouldn't be. And, you know, I've done a lot to develop myself away from my appearance. Like, I think somebody could look at my Instagram account and what I do occupationally and think that looks are all I care about, but lately I've been doing like tons and tons of charity work. Again, if you go through the link in my description and look at my Instagram account, you'll see the different charities that I've been trying to support lately, and bring attention to. And, I mean, admittedly, it would be selfish if I just did charity challenges in order to self-aggrandize. I really hope that when I'm doing these challenges, people aren't looking at me and thinking, wow, she's such a nice person, she's so nice. I don't want people to think that. What I want people to think is, these causes are important. I want to help people. And, I hope that's what people are thinking about. But yeah, when I was looking through the comments made by these incel guys, I was just more and more aware of how much progress I've made as a person in the past few months. Because, I can remember times when I used to think the way they did, and I used to, some of them were saying that I shouldn't be so forgiving of somebody who had cheated on me once, that I should just care about protecting my own feelings. But I don't really want to live that way. I mean, the truth is that because I used to think so much like these incel guys, I'm not even really sure if events with guys in the past really went the way I think they did. I'm not even really sure if I did get cheated on, to be honest. It could just be that I'm misunderstanding things. And, I mean, I don't want to rule out the possibility that what I saw really was that way, because I don't know, I don't really know. But, I guess I wanted to make this video just to, sort of take a moment to just feel, to sort of make a marker where I can acknowledge that I've moved from one point in my life where I was so consumed by insecurity that I couldn't even really do anything for anyone else, to being at a different point in my life where I'm less afraid of doing things in general, but less afraid to do things for others, and less focused on self-protecting. Because a lot of the really lame-brained relationship decisions I made in the past came from a place of wanting to protect myself at all costs. And what I'm learning now is to think, well, who do I really want to be? Do I really want to be somebody who just makes decisions from a place of fear and anger and sadness and mistrust? Or do I want to be somebody who really believes in doing what's right, even when it costs, even when it hurts? And the person I really want to be is somebody who has that kind of rectitude and that kind of courage, where even where there's risk, even when there's fear, I can still do the right things. Because if I look back, one of the negative contributions I've made in past relationships and in my dealings with people is that I go beyond considering the possibility that they might hurt me to absolutely believing that that's all they want to do. Particularly if they do something that I find hurtful. And thinking this way has not served me. I shouldn't rule out the possibility that people are just human, and that they make mistakes, and that in as much as I hope that when I make mistakes, people will forgive me, I should want others, I should be able to forgive others. In as much as God has forgiven me, I want to try to forgive others. But yeah, there's a relief I feel at knowing that I've grown to this extent, actually. I mean, I've still cut off the comments in those videos because, the amount, I'm still astonished at the amount of negativity that was happening in those responses. Because my thought was, well, if they don't want to hear my point of view, if they won't even believe me once they hear me out, why bother watching my video anyway, you know? And to be honest, I didn't know that incel guys were that angry. Like, I'd heard that some of them were, but some of the incel guys I had met just seemed a bit fearful and suspicious of women. And, you know, I can actually really understand how they feel, because relationships are very scary in a lot of ways. You know, you have to have this willingness to open up such vulnerable parts of yourself to another person who could very well reach in and pluck your heart out and crush it in their fist. And, you know, that's a very hard thing for anyone to do. But even worse yet, if you have had bad relationship experiences, or if you haven't had the chance in your life to develop the skills you need to do relationships well, or if you've seen other people go through really bad relationship experiences. Um, and, you know, one of the things I've been thinking about is how, you know, there has to be this balance between doing the things you need to do to protect your emotional well-being, you know. And like, I look back, and yes, there are people I have either cut off or blocked from my social media, and in retrospect, I have regretted it. Like, I've said this in other videos, I regret it because I don't, like, that's not how I would hope to be treated, if I'm honest. I would hope that if I made a mistake with people, that they would forgive me. But then, if I go on and think about it further, if there was a problem between me and somebody else, I would encourage them to talk it out with me. I wouldn't just ghost them the way I was ghosted. I wouldn't just cut them off, so to speak. I would actually try to engage with them. But see, again, in saying this, I'm making an assumption about why I was blocked, and I can't know that. And I don't think I should be making decisions for my own life based on what someone else is doing anyway, because, you know, whatever they're doing is a statement about them. It's really got nothing to do with me. So, you know, yeah. I mean, I'm saying all this now, but these things are very easy to say when you're sitting in the comfort of your own bedroom. In future, and particularly the next time I'm PMSing, I don't know how things are gonna look. I'm probably going to start having a tough time in a few weeks again, like I always do when I'm PMSing, but I hope not. I really hope not. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna go into my phone right now. I'm gonna just see where I am in the month, because I find that keeping track of when my periods begin and end really helps me to understand why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. This is the app I use, and yeah, it's sometimes freakishly accurate. I mean, under lockdowns, it's been inaccurate because, of course, you know, my moods under lockdown are a bit weird. You know, it's a bit like going on a trip. You know, it changes you hormonally. And that's to be expected, you know. I hope there aren't women out there who are feeling really stressed out and worried about their biological health because of things like this. Oh, the app just crashed. Why did you crash, app? I don't have that much to open. But yeah, yeah, I'm even looking at myself right now, and I'm thinking usually when people do things or say things that hurt my feelings, after the fact, I sometimes do look in the mirror and feel ugly. Okay, I don't ovulate for another 4 days. Yeah, after I've ovulated and before I get my period, um, that's usually the tough part of the month. So I'll be very fascinated to see how I cope this month after the development, the amount of development I've made. I want to hope that this time I'm going to be able to keep my cool and not freak out on people the way I normally do. I'm hoping that I've done enough work on myself. But even if I can't, what I can do is just say to people, maybe what I can do is say to people, okay, I'm in that part of the month where I go a bit crazy. So if I do say anything inappropriate to you, I'm sorry for it. And I am trying to get better at handling these things. And just, yeah, because if I really stop and think about part of the reason I get so miserable in that part of the month, it's because not only do I become sad, but I allow myself to it's like falling into a ditch. You know, you can try to walk around it, but if you fall into the ditch, you end up getting covered in dirt. And even in that moment, you can make the decision to climb right out of the ditch, or you can make the decision to stay face down in it and just feel worse and worse. And, you know, but I think I am getting better at developing a collection of healthy coping mechanisms for dealing with my problems. And, you know, I think the charity challenges I've been doing are among those. So I'm really hopeful. That's what I'm going to say. I'm really hopeful about the future. So, yeah. Again, if you're watching my videos, yeah, pray for me. And I'm really grateful for the prayers that people have been saying for me. I really appreciate it, and yeah, just, yeah, take care, and God bless you.